All right, welcome back to Computer Science 40S, Greenfoot, Chapter 3. I'm going to be looking at Section 3.2, and it looks like I'm likely going to be doing 3.3 as well in this little video. Let us make our world a little more interesting by adding another kind of animal. Crabs like to eat worms. Well, that's not true for all kinds of crabs in the real world, but there are some that do, so let's just say our crab is one of those like to eat worms. We're going to add a class of worms. We can add new actor classes to a Greenfoot scenario by selecting new subclass from one of the existing actor classes. In this case, our new class worm is a subclass of the class actor. Remember, being a subclass is a relationship. A worm is an actor. So in other words, a worm inherits all of the methods from actor class. When we're creating a new subclass, we're prompted to enter a name for the class and to select an image. In our case, we name the class worm. By convention, class names in Java should always start with a capital letter. They should also describe what kind of object they represent. So worm is the obvious choice for ours. So over here, we're going to click on actor and right click, new subclass. And we're going to call it worm. Now remember that the book is written in a Macintosh environment, so it looks slightly different. So we're going to go worm. And we should also assign an image. I've already been using worm. You might have to look through animals, but go ahead and find that worm right there. And click OK. Okay, so in exercise 3.7, it says add some worms. What happens? I think you guys know what's going to happen. Let's add a few crabs. Let's add a bunch of worms. Remember, holding shift, like a click, will multiply create them. And when I run this, let's just see what happens. As expected, the crabs move and do nothing with the worms. Okay, so 3.3, eating worms. This is the important part, I guess. We now want to add a new behavior to the crab. When a crab runs into a worm, it eats it. Again, we want to check what methods we already have inherited from actor class. When we open the documentation for class actor again, we can see the following methods. So if we were to do that, click on actor, open it, mine open down here, and you get all of the documentation here for actor and all of the different methods that are here. So we have act, we have added to world, get image, all these different ones here. See if you can find the one that says it's a Boolean and it says is touching. There it is there. This is the one we're going to use. There's this one, and then there's remove touching. Using these methods, we can implement this behavior. The first method checks whether a crab touches a worm. This method returns a Boolean, which is a true or false, so we can use it in an if statement. The second class removes a worm. Both methods expect a parameter of type Java, language.class. This means that we are expected to specify one of our classes from our scenario. Here's some sample code. So if we're touching worm class, remove touching worm. In this case, we specify worm.class as the parameter to both method calls, the is touching and the remove touching. This declares which kind of object we're looking for and what kind of object we want to remove. So our complete act method at this stage is shown in code 3.2. So let's go ahead and do that over here. So under our crab, we've got the turning part. We've got the random number part. We've got moving. And then right here, I'm going to do another if after this move. So right here, I'm going to go if. Notice that it changes color, is touching. Let me see if I can spell it right. So if that's true, then what do? We remove the object that is touching. And let's make sure we got all our semicolons. Now you notice how to see this are our braces. You'll notice this brace here lines up with this one, but it's because it's the current closing one for this one. That's why. So we're going to have an error here. You can notice that we've got this right here. And the reason for that is we haven't got our last brace. So really, we should have a brace here to close that. They line up. These ones line up. Those ones line up. So Greenfoot's pretty harsh. It forces you to sort of indent and do all that stuff that many of you hated doing in grade 11. Okay, so let's just see what happens. I can close this. Again, all those things disappear. We are going to get to that eventually, where I will show you how to make those automatically appear. Let's add a bunch of worms here, and let's see what happens. Yay, and the crabs are eating the worms. Okay, that's the end of page 37. So flip over to page 38. Advanced note packages. This is something a little bit extra if you want. I'm just going to read through this here, and if you want to skip this, that's probably as well. So in the definition of the is touching and remove touching methods, we've seen a parameter with the type with the name java.lang.class. What does this mean? Many types are defined by classes. Many of these classes are the standard Java class library. You can see the documentation of the Java class library by choosing Java library documentation from Greenfoot's help menu. The Java class library contains thousands of classes. To make these a little easier to work with, they've been grouped together in packages, logically related groups of classes. When a class name includes dots, such as java.language.class, only the last part of the name of the class itself and the former part are the name of the package. So here we are looking at the class name class from the package java.language. Try to find that class in the Java library documentation. So if you want to mess around with that, you can. I'm going to stop this video here and we're going to start 3.4 right away.